So I want to talk about issues with authority and the theme that is coming up most prevalently right now for a lot of my clientele, which is this strange relief of a very impractical reality that has settled for them. So what that can look like is losing a job and or primarily what I'm seeing is a lot of people are things are changing, the structure of their lives are changing, and they're afraid to disclose that this change for them, even though it makes logically no sense because they're probably making less money or they're doing less, or something about it just doesn't align to the paradigm that their family structure adheres to. They're afraid, their biggest concern is relaying the information to their family that actually this problem that just fell into their lap is actually the solution for them. It's actually weirdly more in alignment with them. So what I see a lot is a lot of us, or I should say this context, a lot of perfectionistic people who are also open. There's a difference between a perfectionistic closed person and a perfectionistic open person. And I think that a lot of what happens for us is that when we know that we could master something, we no longer have a desire to sustain that thing. So this is a pattern that in my personal life I'm trying to deviate from, because the literal running story from my father was, I am a person, he, as this like huge ass Marine sergeant, whatever, he always would say, I don't have endurance. I'm a sprinter, I don't have endurance. So what do you think I was? I was the fastest girl on my track team, and I had no endurance whatsoever. If I even got to a quarter of a mile, I was lucky, and that's a running story that went on in my family line. So I think that a lot of us have that going on where it's easy, we think, oh, I'm gonna become a doctor, I'm gonna become a lawyer, I'm gonna become that thing. And people like us, once we know that we can become it, it's not necessarily as easy for us to sustain the rhythm that it required for us to become that thing. If that thing was out of alignment, if that thing was a thing that we tried to obtain just because our family desired it for us, or just because we wanted to fit into society. So what I mean by this is, people could see me as a person who has a lot of potential, right? And they could say, oh, well, it is actually her resistance that holds her back, because I have the potential to be very expansive. This could be looked at as true from one side of the coin. And from another side of the coin, it could be looked at because in last year, I took on a business coach, and it's something that I needed. I love the lessons and I love her. And at the end of that, for me, I realized that it was actually, people could say, oh, it is resistance that makes you hold yourself back. No, it was resistance that told me I had to get further ahead than I was, right? And so I went into that relationship being like, okay, I'm in resistance to being, because I see the potential, I should have the potential, I should do that thing. So this is what I'm seeing a lot reflected back to me with people. They feel like because they have the potential to get the new job and be a mom and a single mom and do all the crazy things and do it all, they know that they can, but they know it's not sustainable for them. And right now something has come up for them. They're like, oh my God, this rhythm feels more sustainable for me, and my family's gonna tell me I'm lazy, or that I need to do it this way or that way. So a lot of us, we have an idea that based on childhood, the authority, and we're rebels by nature, right? So that the authority, we want somebody else so deeply to just be in control, somebody else that we trust, that just has our back. My God, wouldn't it be amazing to have one of those human beings on the planet who just 100% has your back, you trust them, your absolute good is always in their best intentions on all levels of your existence. We want those people in our lives, and we tend to, one, not be that for ourselves, but two, we live in a culture that, one of my clients said to me yesterday, because I have issues with authority, and I had to back her up, and I was like, let me clarify this. Most of us don't have issues with authority itself. If authorities were, the idea and concept of authority were just a floating bubble, there's no charge to it, flying through space, we'd be like, yeah, whatever, authority, don't care. It's the problem with us is that our neuronet associated authority with punitive survival, right? So growing up, my parents would be like, the cops are coming for you. Every time they'd see a cop, they'd be like, get down, Stace, they're coming for you. The fear of, or even they would like, what's the word I want to, like, outsource power and say, like, I'm going to tell your teacher, or I didn't know who they were that was the authority, but I knew that they were out there and they were coming for me and that it was going to hurt, right? So we have that idea of authority usually wrapped up in our survival, usually wrapped up in our career, usually wrapped up in this idea that we need the people who are associated with our career to, you know, we need to please the authority. And for people like us, normal people just go, okay, well, yeah, you're my boss, but there's no charge to that. But to people like us, that makes us immediately inferior and fear that authority that we associate, that neuronet with authority, is going to punish us and has the capability of kicking us out, not letting us back in, having, you know, not giving us money, not giving us the things that we need or want. We immediately remember that feeling of authority, and it's not even conscious. The body goes, oh my God, the authority, and the authority is going to be in, you know, likely your boss, and that can trip us up, because then we're recreating the pattern, right, of essentially victimhood to authority, instead of recognizing that all of these outer things, my God, it's like, it's so easy to be like, yes, I have the potential to do that, but that doesn't mean I like have to do it, right? Like in our culture, everybody's like, because you can, you must. And there is a time for that. But if you're in the game of life and you are like running that whole deal, there is a time for sprinting, there is a time for relaxing, there's a time for floating, and there's a time for paddling. And we have to be in tune with our own rhythm enough to know when that is. And a lot of people right now are going, it's my time to float. And people are asking me to paddle. And I just want to reflect to you that they might think you're crazy, right? I've been doing what I do for 10 years, and my family still constantly tells me to go get a real job, okay? It works, right? It is exactly where I want to be with my kids in this way at this moment, doing it this way. And it doesn't look like it could if I would just ... And guess what? I'm just hanging back with my kids. And that, my point in saying all of this too, is like that resistance to what we are that creates us to basically go, well, my family's not going to get it. So even though I believe it's a relief, I have to like paddle, you know, in the opposite direction of relief, because I have to do something more in alignment with what they're going to do, because that's the only way they're going to support me. And I understand that feels lonely to say, I have to be this way unless they're for them to support me. But for you to support you, for you to be your authority, you have to know there's some people who are just going to tell you you're insane. There's some people who are going to tell you that you're illogical, irresponsible, selfish. And how funny is it when people who are inclined to call you selfish, like they're really going, oh, you're not doing it the way that I want you to do it, right? And what does that say, right? Like that's projection at its finest. So you're going to face your family. You're going to face people who are going to say like, that's insane that you want to do it that way. You're lazy. You're, you know, giving up. You're whatever. All of your triggers that you never wanted to be, they're going to tell you that you are being. And in some ways, in these times where a lot of people, I'm seeing, if this is you, where it's time for surrender. It's not time for like, let me run that race. Like they've done that for a really long time. And on a soul level, they're going, okay, this is my opportunity to exhale, but I don't feel like I'm allowed to take it, because they're going to see me take it. And if they see me take it, they're going to take something else from me. It's going to come at a cost, right? Because that's what authority does to us. So we make their opinions the authority. We make their path for us the authority, when on a truer soul level, you know, the concept of authority, if it's not wrapped up in survival and not wrapped up in work, is a lovely concept. But a lot of us wrap it up and we immediately entangle on a biological level with the person that we think is the authority, and then we become fearful, and it just has this whole spiral, because then we become kind of like the, you know, the vibration of the oppressed, and that's what we're going to get because we think authority is punitive. So if you are right now going, oh my God, I'm on this path that feels like it would feel so relieving for me, but if I take it, I'm gonna get punished somehow, in some way. I mean, the way you were doing it before obviously felt like punishment. If this feels like a relief, whatever this is, right? So let's just keep that in mind. But they will, all of this is gonna lead you someplace that all of those people who now go, you're insane, you're not, you know, whatever. If you maintain the road of following your own, the path of your own inner authority, which makes no sense in this world, one day you're going to be so different on the inside that their projections are laughable. It's like, okay, you wanted to do it your way, I'm going to do it my way, right? And it doesn't have to look that way just because it could look that way. It looks just like this because this is exactly how I designed it and I want it for now, right? And in a different chapter, we can create a different reality. But for now, a lot of people are going, oh my God, you know, and a lot of us think if we commit to the float, we're never going to be motivated. We're never going to learn how to like get back to paddling. That's not true. That's not true. I think on a soul level, we are given the ebbs and the flows and the biological understanding of what they are, and when relief comes and we are going, I shouldn't take it because, my God, I'm not used to not having to paddle. I have to be doing something so they see me doing something because, my God, if they don't see me doing something, one, they're going to take stuff away, two, they're going to expect me to do something else that I don't want to do, and then it becomes all about them and their authority instead of filling the gap between, okay, this is my path, this is my rhythm. They don't get it. They will likely withdraw support. They will likely tell me I'm insane. And at the end of it, to be fair, most likely, even if they say I told you anyway, they'd probably, you know, take you back if you crawled on your knees or whatever, if you ever needed them. But it doesn't matter, right? Like, you doing you is why you came. So if this is a moment of relief, remember that you're co-creating with divinity. And that divinity is the authority. And sometimes the authority says, okay, it's time for a nap. And if you don't take that nap, and this is what I say to people, because it really was put into context for me once, but I'm sure I've said it on my videos before, but if you have a blessing, you know, so it's so easy as empaths to be like, oh my God, they don't have this, so I can't receive this is terrible. Not receiving it on a level of consciousness is like slapping the universe in the face. So if the universe is saying, hey darling, take a nap now, and you're going, I can't, my other mommy, my other boss, my other whatever, you know, they say that I should be trying really hard to figure this out because this isn't gonna work. You're not really the authority in this world, right? Remember who the authority is, because it's not in the culture, the status, the boss, the paycheck. Yeah, it's something much, much, you know, it has your back. It is that person. It is that person that we want for ourselves. And when we can align to that source of authority, we become that thing for ourselves. So, authority itself isn't bad, so long as we don't have it intermixed with the idea of survival and work. That's where it gets tricky and dangerous for people like us. So I hope this was helpful. If you are new to me, hi, I am Stacy Hoch. Thanks for having me. If you dig it, subscribe. If not, bye. But either way, bye y'all.